Welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what is on the telly, and by that, we mean what's on our minds, because we're Telly. I'm Norman.
And I'm normal.
But actually, I'm Tyler, and today we're going to talk about the first movie to ever have a gay main character. And by that, we mean Paranorman, that came out in 2012.
This is not the first movie ever to have a first.
Let me see how they worded it, because it was the first something to do something.
We're talking about Paranorman, which is a Disney movie. Is it a Disney? It's not a Disney movie.
It's not Disney.
Frankie and Winnie was Disney. This is not Disney. This is Leica Studios, who made Coraline, which is what we're posting next week, which is exciting. I love Leica Studios. They make amazing movies. And you can definitely see the style of this movie and Coraline are very much the same. So if you like Coraline, you should watch this movie.
Okay, this movie had the first openly gay character in a mainstream animated film. That's what it was. First openly gay character in a mainstream animated film.
Yeah, that makes sense. 2012?
2012.
Gay marriage was legal in the US? Was that 2014?
2014, I think. It was also the first ever PG-rated movie nominated by GLAAD in its annual media awards, but it lost to Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is crazy that those came out the same year, because I remember Paranorman coming out, recently in my head. Perks of Being a Wallflower is an old movie. Going off of it being the first PG movie nominated for GLAAD, what I want to say about this movie is that I am shocked that it's rated PG. It's somewhere, if there was a category between PG and PG-13, that's what it would be. And they just go a little too far compared to how most PG movies go. They say boobs, they say jackass, they make multiple sex jokes. There's a lot of adult humor in the movie that would go over a child's head, but is very explicit to an adult. And I'm very surprised that those things were kept in a PG-rated movie.
I think because it wasn't a Disney movie.
Literally, most PG movies are Disney movies, and that's why I'm used to that.
Because it's not as strict.
They made an F-word joke. He was like, you have to swear. And Norman was like, you mean the F-word? What? That was in a PG movie?
Yeah, I think it's because of it's not a huge Studio Network film. It's just a Leica Studios film. That they had a lot more freedom of what they could do, so they could put in these adult jokes without having to.
Even the adult jokes that weren't inappropriate. There was sexual stuff. There was the bit about how the older sister kept shirtless pictures in her underwear drawer. But there was also just stuff that I feel like a 9-year-old wouldn't pick up on, the fact that Norman's ringtone is the Friday the 13th theme. And then the little Michael Myers in the sheets bit. A 9-year-old watching this is not going to have seen those movies. But I feel like an adult watching it would be oh my god, that's funny. Because they just really threw in a whole Michael Myers bit.
Oh yeah. I feel like every kids movie that's not a Disney movie has a side for adults as well.
Oh yeah. A lot of kids movies like that have adult jokes. But this movie was just much more explicit than I'm used to the adult jokes in kids movies being. And I was surprised.
Oh yeah.
Usually it's just oh, I see the adult joke there, but this was very in-your-face adult joke, which makes sense, because it's kind of it's a PG movie, but it's made for 11-year-olds, not 7-year-olds, which is why this came out when I was 8, right? And I was scared of it when it came out, and I think that's because I was a little bit under the target age. I think this is a movie made for 10-year-olds. And I think it scared me because I was, a little too young for it or something. It was not scary at all now, but I was scared when I was 8.
I used to mix this movie up with Frankenweenie, and sometimes when I asked my parents to watch Frankenweenie, I actually meant this movie.
I had the book, but I don't know if I read it.
At the same time?
They did. They were both, 2012.
I watched them both, and I would always mix them up for some reason.
I wouldn't mix them up because I liked the one with the dog, and I didn't like the one that scared me, was my thought process.
I like Paranorman more, honestly.
Oh, now that I'm older, I liked Paranorman more, but when I was 8, one scared me, the other had a dog, no contest. I loved so much about this movie. It was very similar to Frankenweenie on, not even, the fact that they came out at the same time and have similar animation styles, but both movies involve a kid around 11 years old who has a dad who doesn't want them to grow up to be the weird kid in the town, and the mom who is usually pretty nice but sometimes not, and then someone close to them dies, and then the parents don't understand the mourning process, and both kids are interested in film, but their dad wants them to play sports, and then something happens based off of the boy, and then there's monsters that attack the town. And for a little bit, they think that the boy's the one who did the monster, and they're mad at the boy, but then they realize the boy's the one saving the day, and then they all like the boy. And then the parents are, like, nice at the end. And really, when it comes down to it, they're the same movie, but one's in color.
It's like one's about Frankenstein and one's about a medium and zombies.
I loved the witch theme of the movie. Like, it's a made-up town in Massachusetts, but it's very obviously like a play off Salem, and I thought that was cool that it takes place in Massachusetts. And just a lot of the witch themes, Salem witch trial themes in the movie were really interesting. And did you see the billboard sign? This shocked me that it made in the movie too. It was like a great place to hang, and there was a witch hanging from a tree, and that was like the entrance to their town.
Too.
That was so bad. That was so bad.
This movie is fantastic. I loved it so much. I have a lot of theories about the actual story itself. So, like, okay, so this kid is like 11 years old. He can talk to ghosts and see ghosts. Nobody else in his town can. And he just goes through his days, like, talking to ghosts like they were his neighbors and whatever. And there's this, like, yearly ritual that has to happen, or the town gets mobbed by zombies, and this ghost girl gets all mad and upset and destroys the town or whatever. And so every generation has a kid that can see ghosts. But
no one in the family's put it together yet that every generation one of them pops out claiming to see ghosts. Like, no one in the family has ever been like, maybe there's a pattern here.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting that his uncle and him could see ghosts, and it wasn't just a generational power that they had, because that's kind of like what they were going for, but they kept like the uncle in. I don't know.
It was cool. I think he was supposed to be his great uncle, because at the beginning of the movie they say it's the mom's uncle. He calls him his uncle too, but I think it's like technically his great uncle.
But Norman can see the dead, and then his uncle can also see the dead, and he was the person like making the ghost girl passive, so the zombies.
Yeah, it's his great uncle.
City.
It's his mom's uncle. Yeah.
That's weird. But like, who in her generation could see ghosts?
Maybe it skips a generation.
Maybe.
The dad was such an asshole at the beginning of the movie. The way he was fighting with the mom and Norman, like, he was being a dick.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Like, I don't want him to turn out like your side of the family. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Dude, he was like very much like made to look like a Republican redneck.
And then he was like, you know I'm a liberal, but this isn't the West Coast. That doesn't slide here.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
Did you hear the police? Like, the movie was so political. The police joke were like, they were like, why are you shooting, like, civilians? That's my job.
Oh my god, my favorite scene in the movie was when the van was they were, like, running away from the zombies or whatever, and the police was chasing them, and they, like, crashed into their parents, and the parents, like, got out of the car, and the dad was like, where are the police when you need them? And the police just immediately slams the dad out of the scene. That was the funniest shit ever. I love that.
This movie was so funny. Like, this is genuinely a funny movie to watch, even though it's a kid's movie. I think it's funnier as an adult. Like, this is a movie you should watch if you're 20 years old. That's when it's funniest, because it's like teenage humor. It's very teenage humor. I like the little details, like the jock. I like the random body proportions, like the police officer, like, was just, like, had the biggest ass and was slamming it into the car. Yeah. And the jock just skips leg day, apparently. Like, he had stick legs supporting his Dorito body. And there was a bit when the car was flipping over when they were driving it, and you see his protein powder just, like, float away in the upside-down car. Like, he had protein powder in his car. And, oh my god, it was such a funny movie.
I just love, like, the way they designed these characters. Like, all the character designs were, like, beautiful.
When Norman, kept trying to brush his hair down, or, like, he went through the bushes, and then his hair just sticks right back up.
Yeah, I love it. I like how they use the classic, like, group tropes. Like everyone is a different type of
Trope.
person. You have the jock, the pretty girl, the bully, the comic
But they
relief,
also,
and then
like,
like the
were
loner
so
kid.
interesting in their tropes. Like the nerdy kid who's fat and allergic to everything. When he was going on, like, they bully me because I'm fat and my eyes leak.
Yeah.
And then he's the
MDG.
brother of, like, the himbo jock.
Oh yeah.
And that's interesting. And then the 12-year-old bully has gauged years.
I think he's like
And
14.
I don't know. Like, maybe they're.
12.
I think they're in middle school because it's the beginning of the school year, and Norman's 11, and they make a joke about
Maybe
how,
he's
like, we learned
13.
this last year in 5th grade, Norman. Come on. Like, we learned this in 5th grade history class. Get it together. So I think they're in 6th grade, but he could be in, like, 7th or 8th grade, I guess. Bullying him.
Was, like, he's probably like, he was probably held back. So he's probably like 13 and 16.
Held back. When he was like, are they gonna eat my brains? And Norman's like, no, don't worry, you're safe.
You don't have any friends.
This is such a good movie. Like, it was so funny, but also so interesting and deep. Like, the whole, like, plot of the movie was that the people and the judge went after this girl because they were scared of her, so they hurt her. And then their punishment was to have the townspeople do the same thing to them. And then they were punished by coming back as zombies, and then the town hurt them because they were scared of them. Like, their punishment was getting the same treatment they gave the girl, and that was fascinating to me. Like, that's really deep for a kid's movie.
You know those scenes where Norman would, like, look around and his, like, actual world would start, like, burning away, and then he would go...
I love that animation, but yes.
I actually had nightmares where it was like that. And
oh my god.
I had a reoccurring nightmare of where I was in a school, in a gym, and, like, one of the walls would burn away like that. And it was at night, and, like, they were monsters. So I think that's where that nightmare comes from.
Nightmare
movie.
fuel.
That's so interesting. I was like, oh my god, that actually gave me flashbacks.
Someone I watched the movie with immediately guessed that Norman was the ancestor of the witch, just because when he would have the flashbacks, he was always, like, standing in the place of the witch in the flashbacks.
That ties into my theories.
I love the way he talked to the little girl and, like, she calmed down and passed away peacefully. I thought it was so sweet.
Another one of my favorite scenes is when Norman and Neil...
yeah, I love Neil. He's so funny.
When Neil brought him over to see his dog, and he was trying to play fetch with his dog, and he was like, Norman, you throw the stick now. And Norman's like, no, I don't want to throw the stick. He's like, no.
No, that was such a cute scene.
And then he tried to throw the stick and then just nailed Neil in the face. That shit's so funny. It's like quick comedy where the action would happen so fast. It would just be so funny.
It was so funny.
Quick action.
That reminds me. Another sexual thing about the movie is they really had Neil pausing the TV to stare at a girl's ass, like, very prominently. Why? How is this PG?
I noticed at the end when Norman's sister and, like, all his, like, new friends and stuff were going out of the town hall or whatever to stand up to the townspeople. The sister was like, all right, everyone hold hands, and the bully was standing to the left of her.
Grabbed her ass! Grabbed her ass!
He's like, no, dude, my hand, not my fucking ass, bitch. And he's like,
that was so obvious. That was, like, as soon as it happened, I was like, oh my god.
You made him grope her ass?
If there was a category, like, this wasn't as bad as a lot of PG-13 movies, but if there was some sort of category in the middle, that's what this movie is. Oh, yeah. Like, I'm shocked that made the cut for PG. I'm shocked. Yeah. It's like,
rated this movie.
It was like PG-13 with less swearing and less making out.
Yeah. You know how, like, rated R movies are only rated... Some of them are, like, only rated R because of the language, and you're like, well, it's not, like, violent or sexual.
Yeah, like, there's nothing sexual. It's just they say fuck 4 times.
Yeah. That's what this
movie is. This movie's PG-13 because of the adult jokes. But for some reason, it made the PG cut. because it's targeted towards kids. Actually, the director said that he wanted to make this movie because he thought that making this type of movie would help kids express the challenges that they face growing up, because he realized that zombie movies often contained social commentary. So this was like specifically made towards kids to help them.
The struggles of seeing
a lot of the movie felt gay. Like, the whole bit where, like, the dad is scared of him and, like, mean to him because he doesn't understand. That felt gay. I love that they had the character gay at the end.
It's queer-coded, but
it's queer-coded. The whole movie's queer-coded, and then they actually had a gay character. When I watched that as a kid, I don't know what happened, but this is not something I remember. Like, I don't know if it went over my head, and I just, like, didn't realize he had a literal boyfriend. Like, maybe I just looked like, oh, yeah, he has a friend who's a guy. I don't know if I didn't know about gay people yet, but I also didn't know about gay people as being wrong. So I just, like, heard it and was like, yeah, a guy can have a boyfriend, that makes sense, and moved on with my life. Like, I don't know if I asked my parents, and they, like, said, they told me, like, he just meant a friend. Like, I don't know what happened, but I didn't have, like, an oh my god, he's gay moment. Like, it just was like, yeah, okay. I don't know if it went over my head. I don't know if I was just cool with gay people at the time, as if I'm not now. Why did I say that? I don't know if I was just cool with gay people when I was 8, but, like, this didn't register to me when I was watching it as, like, a thing as a child. I don't know.
I registered it as, I knew he didn't like girls, but it didn't hit me that he was gay. Like, I knew he didn't like girls. I knew he didn't want to date that girl. I knew he didn't like girls. I didn't understand that he was gay. You know how, like, a square is a rectangle is not a square?
Yeah. But when you were a kid, how did you react to the boyfriend line when you were a kid?
I think I forgot about it. I don't remember. I don't think I heard. I don't know
if I just didn't hear it as a kid because it was such a throwaway line. I have no idea.
But, like, I understand
but it's obvious he didn't like that girl, at least, because she's hitting on him the whole movie.
I just knew he wasn't interested in girls, like, all around. But it didn't hit me that he was gay.
I love how he's such, like, a stereotypical jock. Like, he has masculine tattoos, and is really ripped, and, like, works on cars, and he's, like, the driver. And then he's just gay. Like, that's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably supposed to be a little bit of a punchline. Like, shock factor, oh, this really masculine guy's gay. But, like, it was cool. I dig it.
Oh, yeah. I loved him.
Me too. Favorite character? Yes.
He's my second favorite character.
Who's your favorite?
I like his little brother.
Neil! Oh my god, Neil's probably my second favorite. Maybe third. I might like Norman. I don't know. I like them.
I have some questions about the lore of this movie.
Shoot.
So, we understand that Norman is like a reincarnation or an ancestor of the witch girl.
Yes.
They look similar. He was always in her point of view, and, like...
Also, if you research the movie, it's, like, everything about the movie does say that, like, it's the ancestor. Were their last names similar? I can't remember.
I don't even know their last names.
They mention last names. I'm just trying to figure out. I think, like, not his last name, because it's the mom side of the family, and the mom gets married, and his last name changes because of their dad. But the uncle, the great uncle, I think his last name is the same as the girl's.
Interesting.
I'm, like, 80% sure. Don't, like, quote me on that if I'm wrong, but I'm 80% sure the uncle and the girl have the same last name.
Do you think... Okay, so here's my first question. Do you think that there were people in the town that could see and talk to ghosts before that event happened?
Before... What event happened? The little girl died? But the little girl could see and talk to ghosts before she died. So I'm assuming it was still a generational thing. Yeah, that was why she was on trial, because she was talking to the dead people and they thought it was witchcraft. That's why she was on trial. So I imagine that's just like a...
But I didn't think they, like, explicitly said that. They were just
scared
of her doing something.
They did. She was on trial because they saw her talking... She claimed that she was talking to dead people. Which also ties to Norman. I think it's hilarious that Norman has gone through 11 years of life being able to talk to dead people and sees how no one around him believes him and how everyone treats him when he claims he can talk to dead people, and he still is insistent. Like, I know he's telling the truth. We know he's telling the truth. But at some point, you just gotta, like, lie about that, bro. Like, he's still, like, in the middle of his school, like, guys, I was talking to the ghost said it. Like, bro, no one believes you. You know no one believes you. Like, you gotta drop it. You gotta keep that to yourself, bro. Your dad's gonna beat you. Everyone's bullying you because you still claim you can talk to ghosts. And you're telling the truth, but sometimes you just gotta lie to save your ass.
You gotta mask that shit and just hide it away until like 30 years in the future when you can only share it with your partner because they're the only ones who could possibly semi-believe you, but not actually because they could never understand what you're going through.
Yeah, exactly. You get it.
That's his life. That's what his life should have been.
So my theory is this has been a thing in the family for a very, very, very long time, but the reason the girl was punished for it was because she lived in the time period of this, like, the witch panic. She lived during the time of the witch panic, so she was killed for it. But I imagine it was a thing in her family for an extremely long time.
Okay, so all of the people before Norman and his uncle were ancestors. So they're all it's an ancestral line. It's not like a reincarnation of this person over and over again.
Yeah, I think it's an ancestor thing.
Do you think that because like you have to read this book to her so she can like calm down and go to sleep?
Do you think it could be any book? Like, it's like the point of it was that it was a bedtime story. Do you think it could have been any kid's book? Like, not specifically Sleeping Beauty?
I think so, because he tells a story about her, and that calms her down, but it, like, rests her because it was about her. So I think it could be any story.
Cool. I love that the uncle was so insistent that Norman had to go get the book out of his dead hands, which was also a really funny scene. Like, those hands were gripping, man. And the slamming his dead body against the table, and then the tongue coming out.
Oh, yeah. That's actually realistic, how actual bodies...
Oh, yeah, because it hardens, like, with the blood setting, right?
Yeah.
But it was a little exaggerated. It was a little exaggerated.
No, really.
Like, the way he was, like, throwing his body around and the hand still wouldn't let go. I was wondering if he was gonna have to break his hands. Like, I was like, is he gonna have to snap his fingers to get out of this?
No, that's actually realistic. I've heard stories of, like, a literal death grip. Like, that's what it's called, the death grip, because it's when you're dead.
Oh, fuck, that's why it's called a death grip. That's so cool.
Yeah, but I heard the story of this, like, girl who was on this boat, and the boat sank, and there were, like, a couple other people on the boat, and there was this little girl also on the boat, and the older girl who was, like, laying on a plank or something thought a fish bit her, and when she got rescued by like the Coast Guard or something, she was like, this big fish is like attached to my leg, and when they pulled her out, it was actually the little girl. Her death grip was just gripping her like calf, like her fingers were dug into her calf, and they had to like break her fingers off to get her hand off this girl. So the death grip is actually realistic. It's hard to get off.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
It is not exaggerated. That's how it
I think it's so funny that the uncle was like, you have to get this book, when it was literally just Sleeping Beauty, and he could have just got in any children's book.
I feel like the uncle didn't know that because it was probably like passed down from generation.
True. Norman was one who put that together. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Why do you think the girl was made of lightning? Do you think that was just like a...
What do you think she was burned at the stake?
Well, she was made of lightning. She wasn't on fire.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. That's like, it's similar.
I feel like she would have been drowned or something. Or hung. She was probably hung because all the hanging jokes. All the witch jokes.
Yeah, and the fact that she was buried at the tree.
Yeah, so she definitely wasn't.
I don't know then. I don't know why she was lightning then.
I just thought it was very interesting.
It was, especially the way her body was like splitting in half. That was really interesting.
Oh yeah. Also, you can kind of like feel the electricity through like the sound effects in the music. It was kind of giving me the same vibe as electro. Another one of my favorite scenes from the movie is when the play is happening. And it, like, cuts to all the parents. It cuts to, like, all the parents in the audience, and every single parent has a camera, and you can see all the red lights.
Oh, yeah.
So funny.
That's That's a funny
has
bit.
his camera, and he can't like the battery died or something. And he's like, oh God, I'm never gonna be able to get this recording. I'm gonna forget this. While everyone else has a camera and is recording, and I was like, it's okay, honey. I don't remember if she had a camera, but it was just really funny that every single person in the audience had a camera. That was hilarious.
And he doesn't even like his kid anyway, so, like, why does he care?
He doesn't. I don't know, but it was really funny.
You don't like your
Also,
son. The little Neil being like, I'm a tree. He was so cute. He's the cutest little guy. Do you think a random detail I noticed is he wears a jacket the entire movie that has, like, weights on it, and I was kind of wondering if that was, like, a hand-me-down from his older brother. Yeah, he wears a gym jacket the whole movie. It says gym on it, and there's, like, a picture of a weight. And I think it'd be cute if that was... I think it was, but it says, like, gym on it. Yeah, just my little theory is it's a hand-me-down from his brother, and I think that's adorable. And the bit where he was like, the girl's here for me, like, he, like, points to himself, like, you're talking to me?
Oh my God, that was so cute. He's like, hi, little guy. He's like, hmm? He's like, yeah. Do you know where Norman is? He's like, I wasn't supposed to tell you, but, like, we went up the mountain and looked for this book. And they're like, fuck. That was adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, when Norman first meets the zombies with, like, the bully in the woods, he, like, runs home and is all paranoid about the undead and everything. But his whole room is covered in zombie posters, and he has all zombie merch and shit like that. So I was kind of surprised that he was scared of zombies if he loved them so much.
I think he liked them as a fictional concept, but then it's different when real zombies are attacking you. Like, I love werewolves. Bro, I love werewolves so much. If a werewolf was attacking me, I would be very scared.
Well, I just love that, like, he's so used to ghosts that zombies wouldn't be a problem.
Oh, yeah. I was saying something about how someone said that he was probably traumatized from the dead body, and I was like, no, don't worry, he's used to dead bodies. Like, he probably sees ghosts every day.
Oh, when he first was reading the book in the circle, he literally would read the first 3 lines over and over again. He would just read, like...
that's what I was saying. I literally said out loud, like, dude, you already said that.
He was like,
move on.
Once
upon a time, there was a girl. Once upon a time.
Working. And I'm like
bro,
it's not working. You're only
keep
reading
going.
the first 3 words. Like, you have to read the whole story. So, like, why? What do you mean it's not working? Like, of course it's not. You dumb bitch.
He dumb. As my roommate would say, he dumb and the stinky.
Yeah, I like that this movie, Paranorman and Coraline, they both have, like, similar ending styles where it's, like, super chaotic, super scary, and then it, like, once that's over, it immediately changes into a super casual, passive, happy situation. Like, there's no backlash or anything.
They have similar animation styles and, like, similar plots. I like that we're doing all 3 of these.
The same company.
Oh shit! No, is it Coraline Disney? Is Coraline not Disney?
No, it's Leica Studios.
No way.
Neil Gaiman would sell his script to fucking Disney? Absolutely not. Oh, the ending. Paranorman ends, and everyone's like high-fiving each other. And it also has the same similar ending music to Coraline. Because, like, when Coraline ends, she has, like, a little picnic in her garden with her neighbors. And Paranorman just goes around to all his friends and family and is like, haha, yeah, life is great now. Like, the curse is gone. And they all have the same ending, and I like it. Very studio style.
Right. I like it a lot. We can compare it to Coraline next week, too. The only thing I wanted to add about the animation was how cool it was that they're the first stop-motion film to use a 3D printer to make the characters' faces, and only the second stop-motion film ever to be shot in 3D. It's very cool. I thought all stop-motion films were shot in 3D, bro. Like, stop-motion confuses me as a concept. I can't process how stop-motion animation films look so fluidly animated. They confuse me.
Wait, how is a stop-motion movie not shot in 3D? Like, is the set 3D?
I don't know.
Is it an actual film set, or is it like what do you? How is it not? Whatever.
I have the same question. I don't know. I'm not educated enough to understand stop motion.
I think
Stop motion?
before this movie, the stop motion was like they made a bunch of heads and designs, or a bunch of copies of every character so they could switch them out to replace the faces. But with the 3D printing, they could 3D print like faceplates and shit. Where they could
Oh, that's really
print
cool.
out the faces and just detach
Like,
like the mouth and the eyes.
I used to think films that, like Paranorman, that were stop motion animation, I used to think that they were regular, not stop motion animation. Like, I used to think they were just, like, normal animation with that, and that was just the animation design.
That would be very hard.
I used to just, like, that, I used to think that was the artist's design. That's what I thought it was.
That'd be very hard to computerize.
Like the Incredibles.
Especially in that time.
They just look like that, you know?
They don't look like the Incredibles, they look real. They're 3D.
I don't know. I'm just stupid when it comes to art. Art is, like, not something my brain processes very well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I can't comprehend. I think just because it's in a 2D format, I can't comprehend the differences in the 3D to the... I don't know how to explain it. I'm not an art guy. I'm a music guy.
Who was your favorite character?
The himbo. The himbo. I love the gay little himbo. With his boyfriend who likes chick flicks. I love his little brother. I love Norman. I love, like, his whole message on, like, not being a mean person just because people were mean to you.
Yeah.
Good movie. Like, this, I need to, like, stress that, like, we gave Frank and Weenie a high rating for a kid's movie. Like, we were like, we are giving this 4 stars because it was really good for a kid's movie, but we are giving Paranorman a high rating because it's a good movie, like, for any age to enjoy.
Yeah. I didn't watch this thinking, oh my god, this is such a kid's movie. I went, oh my god, this is a great movie. Like, this is just
like, this is, like,
movie.
There's adult humor, there's adult themes, the art style is incredible. The color scheme is incredible. It's just, like, a really good movie that you can enjoy if you're not a kid.
Yeah. When I was watching, like, Frank and Weenie, I would think, like, throughout the movie while I was watching it, oh my god, this is, like, a kid's movie. Like, the plot is very kid's movie. The way they're, like, moving through scenes and stuff is very kid movie-like. But
this was mature.
Was great. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You can tell it was aimed for older kids. Like, this is, like, a 10-plus kid movie. Not, like... Frank and Weenie's, like, any kid. This was mature for a kid's movie. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. How about you?
I will give it A+.
A+, perfect. That's not a number, but you have the spirit.
I hope you guys like this podcast episode. We're putting out a little special Halloween edition of Coraline. You should definitely check that out. We're comparing the book to the movie. It's very exciting. You should watch this episode, last episode, the episode before that, and all the future episodes that we put out. And go watch our other videos that aren't podcast related. We put out a pumpkin carving video. It's good to watch. Go watch it, because it's an IRL video that we haven't put out since, like, July. We haven't put out an IRL video in a long time.
That's not true. Pottery, like, just came out, bro.
Oh, forgot about pottery. We recorded that back in July. That's hilarious. Comment and like, because it helps us realize what you guys like and what we should put out more. So please let us know if you like this stuff. And subscribe, because we're so close to 200 subscribers. If we get to 105 by next episode, I'll give someone a good pat on the head. A good, firm pat on the head. We really have to what is it? Not bait. What is it? It's like, you know when you have a word for giving someone a reward in
bribe.
exchange for
You're trying to say bribe.
Yes, bribe.
The word you're going for is bribe.
Bribe. We really have to bribe you guys into subscribing, but please just do it if you like our videos. You don't even have to watch any other videos after that. You can literally just subscribe, because big numbers make us happy.
Big numbers make us happy.
I like big numbers.